Hello everybody, this is Simply Simon with the second episode of Let's Play Sonic Adventure, and by Simply Simon I mean Golem. So as I said last time, we'll be starting off with Tails, and as you can see I can't pull off the glitch where he goes into Emerald Coast. I've read that's possible in the good lord. I've read that's possible in the GameCube version, but I have never pulled it off myself. Apparently it's really easy in the Dreamcast version, but I've never played it myself. And here's Tails' first upgrade. It's completely optional, but it makes him fly faster, so I like it. I like flying faster. For the most part, I think I'll be trying to get through these adventure field segments as fast as possible. Same goes for cutscenes, even though this game has sort of an interesting thing where cutscenes you see from a given character's perspective, like the dialogue will change based on who you're playing as. Which is a little nice, gives you some insight on the mindsets of these characters, as primitive as they might be written. Boss fights, yeah, we'll also be speeding boss fights up, because you know what, the boss fights in this game are really boring. I may have mentioned that last time, but I don't care. I also mentioned last time that the adventure fields are boring, but you know what? They're still going to give us High Tails Laboratory, By Tails Laboratory. They're still going to give us keys to haul around, like this is some sort of interesting puzzle. Whatever, this is not what Sonic Adventure is about. It's about the stages. Here we have Windy Valley, Tails' first stage. Sonic will be visiting this stage later in the video, but you know what? Let's look at the Tails part first so we have a little perspective on things. For the most part, this is a straightforward, runny stage. There's little to no platforming. There's like one or two enemies tops. There might actually only be one enemy in the entire stage. And it's also got these green rings that you can fly through. I think the green rings are a mistake on Sonic Team's part. They're an effort to highlight how Tails plays differently. By flying, Tails can access rings that Sonic can't. But you know what? That's like inherently clear through the platforming. Like, Tails can fly past enemies and over obstacles, whereas Sonic might have to run through them. Tackle enemies by attacking them, or you might have to hit springs that Tails can just fly over. Stuff like that. But instead you've got this stage that's clearly divided into, like, a very straight and, very easy course that Sonic gets to run over, and then the only halfway interesting part are the rings Tails has to fly through. And you know what? The rings really aren't that interesting, because, I don't know, they're just not interesting to interact with. They're not hard to get to, and if they were, it would just be frustrating. There's a lot of other ways you could highlight how different Sonic and Tails are. Anyway, so now we're going to play as Sonic through Windy Valley. It doesn't start off with the Tails segment. Instead, we've got two Sonic exclusive bits to get through first. The first part of this segment highlights the homing attack, like we've got right here. An upper path for the talented, those able to use the homing attack, and I'm not too good at it myself. Anyway, this harkens back to this Genesis games in that the middle path, the path I'm taking right now, in the Genesis games would have been flat and easy to handle, just like the middle path I just went through. Whereas the upper path is typically more platformy, and if you fail the upper path, you usually fall onto the middle path, which I would have done had I failed any earlier, than I actually did. But anyway, and here's the second half of the first portion of the stage, where we get introduced to bottomless pits. Like that trampoline we had to take to cross a bottomless pit, and it's not very likely that players would fall in the bottomless pit, but still, you have to use the trampoline to evade it. And speaking of bottomless pits, this may as well have been one. I don't know, that platform looks nice, it lends a nice aesthetic touch, but don't go there to explore. Anyway, so here we are. We've got our first bottomless pit we just crossed, and we got the second bottomless pit. And now we're pretty much done. And look, a homing attack right at the end. So this first portion really gets you in touch with Sonic's more platformy abilities, the risk of bottomless pits, and the rewards you can gain by homing attacks. By contrast, this section is a little boring, because it's about using various vertical aids. The spring, the jumpy orange platform, and the trampoline. But these aren't, I don't know, they're just not used in an interesting way. And actually, it is worth noting that throughout the rest of the game, springs usually just take you directly where you need to go. You don't usually have to, like there, I had to make an effort to land on a platform, as easy as it might have been. Anyway, here we are at the Tails part, and this part really suffers from... They were straining to emphasize how different Tails could be, and as a result, the Sonic portion sort of drags. And, I mean, the graphics are nice. It's... I kind of like walking on, or running on grates over just a bottomless pit, and, you know, it's a beautiful sky. And the music is really nice. The music is actually a cover of Green Grove from the Genesis, the Jun Sonoe. Is that how you pronounce it? The Genesis version of Sonic 3D Blast. Anyway, it's that music. And look, I still can't do shortcuts. I get the feeling there's going to be a lot of deaths in this LP. Anyway, as much as this part of the stage suffers, because they were trying to emphasize how Tails is better than Sonic, and thus took out all of the platforming so that they could focus on Tails going through rings instead. It still ends up being a little fun to play as Sonic, because even if you're running straight forward and it's impossible to die, the course loops around itself pretty nicely. Like, see here, we've got like a gradual curve to take. And it gives you a nice feel for using the joystick. This is Sonic's first time... Yeah, I believe this is Sonic's first time using an analog joystick. So it's nice just to sort of get a feel for how Sonic moves with your thumb. And the gradual turns you'll see in this stage give you a sense of how nice that feels. And honestly, I think this game controls pretty well. You know, it falls short in some places, and I think Sonic Adventure 2 is by and large an improvement. And that's the phone, so hold on. Okay, where was I? I don't know. Geez, I was about to finish up the video and then a phone call came and now I don't have any focus. But I think I proved my... well, I at least made my point. You know, I guess to contrast Windy Valley and... or to compare Windy Valley and Emerald Coast is sort of... It brings everything together that you're going to see in the future stages, and it's sort of a summation of the entire game. Which is actually just what an opening should be, I feel. Whereas Windy Valley is the more tutorial-y stage. Starts you off, you know, showing you bottomless pits, showing off how the homing attack works, and then the third part of the stage just gets you in a groove with the joystick. And you know what, the Dreamcast joystick never felt all that nice, so I'm glad I'm playing the GameCube version. Anyway, enough senseless bashing. Come back next time, we'll have a part where we meet a deaf, dumb, and blind kid, and he'll be playing some sort of game that you would find in an arcade or bar. Do bars have pinball tables anymore? I don't know. Do deaf, dumb, and blind kids go to bars?